Hey everyone, it's Horror Free For All, and I hope you're doing well today. I have a question for you. Are you one of the people out there that think physical media is dying? Well, I have an answer for you. I don't think physical media is dying. I think cheap physical media is dying. Yes, I have a whole epic fucking rant about this. And what opened my eyes to this bullshit was when Beetlejuice, and Deadpool and Wolverine dropped, at this point now, a month or two ago at this point, a DVD of a brand new movie, unopened, never been played, was being marketed at a $30 to $35 price tag. You fuckers are out of your mind. You fuckers are out of your mind. Who is going to pay $30 to $35 for a brand new DVD? Well, let's discuss. In my opinion, I think that price is for a reason. And you only see these prices on places like Amazon and places that actually have to take in inventory and account for whatever sits, depreciates as time goes on. And we're including Walmart in this discussion. We're including Barnes & Noble and various places that constantly have to slash prices just to get rid of shit. I get why physical media is becoming as expensive as it is today, because it's not getting any better. Nobody is buying DVDs like this in droves. Let alone, look at the fucking price hikes on Blu-rays and 4Ks. Holy fuck. Blu-rays now are $40 to $45 for a brand new release from a studio. A fucking 4K was damn near $70. That's insane on its own. Even the 4K that comes with the Blu-ray, still, who's paying $70 for that? It goes through the whole spectrum. And there's speculation out there that, because 4K is so fucking high compared to, your $30 to $35 DVDs now, that 4Ks are going to die because it's pricing the average Joe out of the market. I think that's kind of true, but I think 4K is going to be around because, like, I hate to use this term, real collectors, but, like, collectors who put real emphasis on the experience are going to want the 4K. Just like how surround sound systems have maintained to be relevant still to this day, and sound bars and shit still get made, is because that's also a part of the experience. That shit's not going to go nowhere. But what's going to happen, especially for 4Ks, is that give it about a few years, once big box retailers pull back physical media to the point where you almost have to buy exclusively online, what's going to happen is you're going to have blackouts of scalpers and people looking to flip shit buying out all the 4Ks, and it's going to be impossible to get your hands on a fucking affordable 4K at some point, if I had to guess. Blu-rays, if they're not extinct by the time that happens, I think Blu-rays, if they're still in production, might actually be the most prominent one if I had to pick between that DVD and 4K, because when you look at the price of a fucking DVD now, who in their right fucking mind is going to pay $30 to $35 for a DVD? That's insane to me. DVDs have always been cheap, and they should always stay cheap. You don't need to prop a DVD up that high, because we all know that give it about 3 to 4 months, especially if it sits in a Walmart, that DVD is going to sit and sit and sit. It's going to go from 35 down to 30, down to 25, down to 20, and eventually make its way into that fucking $5 DVD bin and rot away until some worker carts it off, puts it on a fucking crate, and sends it back to Walmart, where they're going to take it to their DVD company that they own and liquidate it off to stores like Dollar General and Big Lots, and then burn the rest because nobody didn't fucking care when it released to pay that money, and it's just based on principle. And the longer they wait, they're just going to take and go to eBay in the secondary market and buy a used copy. And that's why, these big box retailers shoot themselves in the foot with physical media. And I can understand to a degree why that shit's going to be phased out at some point. It's going to happen. It's going to die. And it's going to die in the old way that we know it in big box retailers. Who knows for how long? Maybe it will make a comeback, like a resurgence, like the Record and the, other things that, like the Tamagotchis for some reason have fucking come back for some reason. But It's going to die for a little bit. And in that time, I'm telling you, cheap physical media is going to be next to impossible unless we're talking about mass-produced shit that has been sitting already for fucking years in warehouses of Amazon, right? I'm going to just pull up a random movie. Don't quote me on this. Death Becomes Her, right? There's a shit ton of DVDs of this film out there for $10 or less. You can probably go on Amazon and buy one for like $7.99 right now. But give it a few years. What's going to happen is people are going to be looking to take advantage of a situation and make the hobby pay for itself. Because at some point, paying with your paycheck money, paying with money that you need to set aside for rent and your food just for cheap entertainment, that's not going to be a thing with this shit anymore. Shit, you can go to a fucking movie theater, even if you have a movie theater subscription like Regal Unlimited or some shit. You're still paying out the ass for every individual movie you see, unless you go to the point where the theater thinks that you've given them enough money and they'll let you pretty much come in and get cheap shit. I mean, it takes a while to get to that point, but I'm just sharing that example because it's these days of $7.99 DVDs, they're going to be gone at some point because people are going to be buying them up and trying to flip them just for a few extra bucks so they can pay for the hobby and let the hobby pay for itself. It's no longer a mainstream market, y'all. And I think the writing's on the wall with that. We're not in the era anymore where physical media is still an alternative to streaming, or at least a major one. I mean, it still is an alternative, but it's not significant enough to maintain a steady course and a steady price. They keep having to up and up and up the price. Part of that is due to the inflation of the country and the economy, but also part of that is because they're lowering production. On every new release, they keep making less and less and less because they see the overhead and they see the risk of sitting on this shit now to the point where they're making less, they're slapping a higher price tag, knowing that they'll probably sell a few at $30 to $35, and then once the others go down and, drop down to $10 or $5 or wherever the fuck they sell it for, they'll at least made their investment on the first few copies that they sold. And once they're gone, they're probably not going to come back in print. And the only time you're going to see DVDs back in print in a few years is if they're hot sellers and places like Amazon can't keep them in stock, right? And I'm talking about your, everyday type of movie like Elf or some bullshit. That will probably be in production forever. But something like Death Becomes Her, that shit's going to go out of print because who the fuck cares about this movie, right? Yeah, this movie is a little more niche in the subject matter, but that's what you're going to have to start planning as a physical media collector. Give it about a few years. If you're one of these DVD purists, Blu-ray purists, and you think that they're going to outlast because of the price, tell me, would you be comfortable in a few years buying, these obscure movies that you're more into than the mainstream shit, and you're paying fucking almost $30 for a DVD? That's fucking insane, man. I get that people like DVDs for being cheap. They don't see necessarily the quality difference. They maybe like the lower resolution. They might like the feel that it brings to films. Who fucking knows? But I'm telling you, nobody's going to want to deal with that shit. Nobody's going to want to deal with that shit, but that's what's going to happen. Blu-rays, $40 to $45 price tag. I'm shocked, honestly, they're not to $50 to $55, to be honest. And especially given the news about, LG players, going out of production. Who knows what Blu-ray has left going for them. It might be at some point that the 4Ks for like these, boutique, die-hard, hardcore collectors that want like the highest grade, those are going to sell at high prices at some point. I can definitely see 4Ks at some point hitting fucking $90 to $100. And people probably won't bat an eye to it because they're so far deep into collecting that they're willing to pay whatever at this point to get whatever else they need. But to the DVD collectors, the average Joe physical media, right? They're going to be priced out because I don't see anybody realistically wanting to pay $30 to $35 for a fucking DVD. That's insane. I think, honestly, to be honest, 4K, if we look at the whole landscape, give it about 10 years, DVDs, they can make 10 DVDs per one 4K. The 4K is going to sell over those fucking 10 DVDs. and the DVDs are just going to fucking sit and sit and sit and sit and sit. And yeah, they'll be around when 4K possibly goes, but the only thing that's going to be left from DVDs are the shit that didn't sell, and once they sell out, it's gone, right? And that's the worst case scenario, but that is a scenario that can happen. I just don't see how this hobby, or I guess the physical media as a whole, is affordable anymore. I think that's the biggest issue. I don't think physical media is going to go anywhere. If anything, these boutique labels and the Screen Factories, the Kino Lorbers and whatnot, they're just going to up the prices on the shit, because they know when they drop a release, if they sell out, they made their fucking money. Who cares about some scalper buying 5 copies and flipping it on eBay for $150? Yeah, it screws a potential customer that wants to buy it. But hey, they know that they have the risk, they have the overhead, they're charging the prices that they're comfortable with, and they made their money. That's not their problem. That's a customer problem at that point, because you have to now be planning and have some gut and insight to actually pre-order something, or get to this before it sells out. It sucks and it's unfair, but physical media collectors, if you're going to stick in this hobby, you're going to have to get used to that shit, man. I've gotten to the point where I've been looking at the movies that I have, and trust me, there's plenty of movies I want, and a lot of them are out of print on DVD. I'm getting to the point where I'm making a fucking short list of at least the out of print shit, because I cannot fucking imagine how expensive an out of print DVD is going to be that's been out of print since 2002 in about 5 years. If these prices continue to be where they're at, it's insane. It's insane, and it's not even a proven price model. They're just throwing this price on there, and what is that doing for the hobby right now? If you're out there buying DVDs, are you realistically going to a Walmart and looking at a Deadpool Wolverine DVD and saying, $30 to $35, fuck it, at least it's cheaper than the Blu-ray and the 4K, I'll buy it. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? DVDs are dirt cheap to make. They probably cost them $4 to make that shit. Realistically. The cases are cheap as hell. Even the DVD art nowadays are so flimsy, like the Blu-ray, cheap Blu-ray art, that you could poke your fucking fingernail and scratch it immediately and rip a hole through the goddamn thing if you try to take it out and clean the dust off of it. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. And good luck to all of you out there. But, everybody on this gung-ho bandwagon, DVDs are going to be cheap, Blu-rays are going to be cheap. Nah, dude, that shit ain't going to be cheap. Give it a few years. You're going to see the rude awakening coming. And the back stock that's sitting on Amazon right now, you get your $10 Death Becomes Her copies. At some point, scalpers are just going to buy them up. Or, there are a lot of physical media collectors that are not social media influencers out there as well. They're probably just going to start buying up cheap DVDs on deals and just buy stuff to have it, because they know that it's better to have it than not have it. Because if you don't have it and it sells out, there's a good chance that it's never going to come back in print, and it's going to only go up from there. Or if it does stay in print, you're going to have to pay that price model at fucking $15, $20, $30 consistently. And DVD should not be that expensive. And that to me is the telltale sign that cheap media is over for physical media collectors. It's over. Everybody out there clamoring that, they're going to be saving all this money. You're only really going to be saving money at thrift stores, Goodwills, places like that. But it's time that we pull the wool back over our eyes. I collect it all, y'all. I collect VHS, I collect DVD, I collect Blu-ray, I collect 4K, but I'm always dictated by price, and I have a ceiling. If I'm going to buy a VHS, I'm not paying more than $5 for it. I'm not paying more than, I guess, 12 or 13 for a DVD. I'm not paying more than 30 to 35 for a nice Blu-ray, maybe with a slip if I want the slip, or a steelbook. For a 4K, I might drop 40 to 45, but I might be priced out of 4Ks now. Who knows? But if I find it cheap and I want that movie, I'll pay it if I'm willing to pay the price. I'm that type of guy. But I absolutely refuse, 100% refuse to pay that money for a brand new DVD copy. I'd rather fucking all these DVDs that are priced at this point for $30 to $35 at your Walmarts and shit like that, I'd rather they all just fucking burn. You know, get liquidated, go back to the warehouse. Because it's not going to do anybody any favors. And all they're doing is that they're taking up space. And to be honest, if they're not going to sell, recycle them and make DVDs that do sell. Right? And that's what's going to be the hobby. You're not going to have this huge selection of movies. I mean, you might have backlogs and backstock for a little while, but once that's depleted, it's gone. And then once you have, what do you have? You have pretty much all secondary market if it ceases to be produced. But I don't see that necessarily happening. But I do see the pivot's going to be, they're going to be only producing the stuff that sells. Or the boutique labels will produce the things that people want, but they're going to have to pay out of the ass for it. And Godspeed to all physical media collectors out there. I'm one just like you, but I'm being a realist. And I don't think it's dying. I just think it's the cheap media is dying, and it's pretty much dead. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Let me know your thoughts on what I had to share there. And until next time, take care.